call for help.
Poor Rusty was feeling very sorry for himself after that incident yesterday. And all the engines felt very sorry for him. Even Sir Handel. But Duncan felt delighted with the dilemma Rusty had. Fancy leaving the inspectors and your driver behind, he teased. Oh, please, don't start with the same attitude you had the last few times a long time ago, said Peter Sam. Pah, of Duncan. At least I didn't leave a refreshment lady behind. Oh, don't bring that up, said Peter Sam. That's enough arguing, you two, ordered Scarloey. It wasn't until Mr. Percival arrived to come and see Rusty. Don't worry, Rusty, he comforted. I know that the incident with you leaving your driver and the inspector behind wasn't your fault. So you shall get to take the test train again. That made Rusty feel better a bit. And he rolled away. Rusty soon arrived at Croven's gate, where the inspector was waiting. Sorry for leaving you behind, sir. Someone hijacked me. Don't worry, Rusty, said the inspector kindly. I know it wasn't your fault that you left me behind. That made Rusty feel better, and as the inspector went inside the coach, Rusty rolled away. Rusty showed the inspector all the stations along the line. He showed him the village station, the tea room station, Strawberry Grove. As Rusty arrived up near the lake, he saw that there wasn't anyone around. And he even showed him the same location where they were building the quarry until the boulder ran loose. This is where the boulder quarry was going to be built, but after the boulder ran loose, they decided to shut down the quarry, and now it's just used as a line. The inspector looked around. I'm sure we can make this into a quarry again now that the boulder is relocated somewhere else, said the inspector. Rusty agreed. On the way back, the inspector went to go inspect the lake and the siding. This place will make a perfect station, he said. Rusty had to agree and made his way. Just as the inspector went inside the coach. Rusty was going to fill up on oil at the tea room station, but there was trouble. There wasn't any fuel left, thanks to some naughty boys throwing stones making it leak. The driver then walked up to him. We're going to have to find another oil depot to fill up at, said the driver. I hope so, said Rusty. And he rode away. Meanwhile, on the rocky ridge line, Rusty was still making his way in when suddenly there was trouble. Rusty spluttered, and then he ground to a halt. He ran out of oil. Now the inspector won't be able to get back to Groven's Gate. This was a disaster. What are we going to do? Asked the inspector. Rusty then had an idea. He knew exactly where he was. We're on the Rocky Ridge line, and whenever someone would toot their horn or blow their whistles, they would make an echo. And if I blow my horn, and if my echo would fly across Lakeside Station, someone will hear me, and they'll hopefully come to our rescue. Sounds like a good idea, said the driver. Blow your horn, Rusty, agreed the inspector. And Rusty did. He blew his horn as loud as he could. Meanwhile, at Lakeside, Fred was about to head back to the shed when he heard Rusty's horn. That sounds like Rusty, he thought. He needs help. And he headed back to go rescue Rusty. Back at the gorges, Rusty, the driver, and the inspector were waiting for someone to come to their rescue, just as Fred rolled in. I heard the horn, said Fred. Thank goodness, said Rusty. We mustn't be late to get to Groven's Gate. Not to worry, said Fred. I'll get you to Groven's Gate in no time. And Fred went to go buffer up to Rusty. And Fred set it off to Groven's Gate as fast as he could. Fred soon arrived with Rusty at Groven's Gate Station. Mr. Percival was waiting anxiously for them. A fine piece of work, Fred, said Mr. Percival. He then turned to Rusty. Rusty, I heard what happened, and you are not at fault for the delay. I shall call the police and see who was responsible for that incident with the leaky oil depot. Thank you, sir, said Rusty. And it also feels great to make up for that little mishap yesterday. The naughty boys were soon caught by the police, and their parents scolded them severely. And after they punished them, the naughty boys had to do community service for the rest of the week. And you will be glad to know that when Fred brought Rusty back to the sheds, the engines all gave him 3 cheers for rescuing Rusty. Rusty even thanked Fred for rescuing him. Mr. Percival, on the other hand, thinks he won't be able to hear anything for weeks.